शिव का नाम पुकारे, मैंने शिव से लगाई लगन। मेरे मन वीरा की तारी, शिव का नाम पुकारे, मैंने शिव से लगाई लगन। शिव का नाम पुकारे, मैंने शिव से लगाई
Prem se Guru Mahapati Mahadev ki Jai. So let us start as we have our opening arati. You have this one already. Let us stand with our hands clasped together. You can close your eyes and visualize the form of Bhagwan Shiva within your being, or you can focus on the Murti on the stage, on the altar. But do not let your thoughts wander all over the place. Keep it focused either on the Murti or within yourself. And as you perform that arati, you're waving that light in a circular motion. You're offering all your love and your devotion to God. Light is a symbol of is a symbol of purity, of illumination, of truth, of love in the purest of forms. So you're going to surrender yourself as you are, with all your faults, all your defects, all your accomplishments, as well as your sorrows and losses. As you are, do not disguise yourself. You surrender yourself to the feet of God. That is why you are in a circular motion. So you form that infinite bond between yourself and God. Principal Mahapati Mahadev ki Jai. Take a seat, please. May I, on behalf of the members of the Shri Parameshwari Durga Devi Ashram Incorporated, on behalf of our board of directors, our management team, extend a most cordial welcome to all of you to our ongoing Shiv Puran Yagya. Tonight we have our supporters coming from the south. We have Shannon and her grandparents and Tiani and others coming from the area here. So welcome to our ongoing Yagya. Also in our presence tonight we have Mr. Premnath Ramadan. Premdas Ramadan, change your name. One of the supporters of this ashram from way back. Okay, so before we go into tonight's discourse, let us, as customary, let us pay our salutations to Bhavan. So let us concentrate briefly on Bhavan Ganapati, he who is the hero of success, the remover of obstacles, and always first and foremost among the host of the devatas. We seek the blessings of Devi Saraswati, choose whose blessings the knowledge that is dispensed is able to assimilated to our reverend Guru, he who is the link between humanity and divinity, and to the presiding deity of our Yagya, Bhagwan Shiva. May his grace and blessings be with us, our family, wherever we are. कामरामोक्षरं चैव ओंकाराय नमो नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ प्रणम्य शिरसे देवं गौरीपुत्र विनायकं भक्तवासं स्मरे नित्यं कामर्तं सिद्धके। ॐ प्रथमं वक्रतुण्ड च एकदन्तं द्वितीयकं तृतीयं कृष्णपिङ्गाक्ष राजारक्तं चतुर्थं लम्बोदरं पञ्चमं च षष्ठं विकटमेव च सप्तमं विघ्नराजं च धूम्रवर्णं ततष्टकं नवमं बालचन्द्रतु दशमं तु विनायकम् एकदशुरघण्टा द्वादशतु गजाननम्। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं गणेश्वराय ब्रह्मरूपाय चार्वे सर्वसिद्धिप्रदेशाय विघ्नेश्वराय नमो नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। सरस्वती महाभागे विद्याकमल विरोचिनी विद्यारूपे विशालक्ष्ये विद्यादेहि नमोस्तुते। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय नागेन्द्रहाराय त्रिलोचनाय भस्माङ्गराय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगंबराय तस्मै नकाय नमः शिवाय। मंदाकिनी सलिलचंदर चर्चिताय नंदीश्वर प्रमात महेश्वराय मंदार पुष्प बहुसुपूजिताय तस्मै मकाय नमः शिवाय। शिवाय गौरी वरावृन्दाय सूर्याय दक्षाय द्रवनाक्षराय श्रीनीलकण्ठाय वृषभध्वजाय तस्मै शिखाय नमः शिवाय। वसिष्ठकुम्भौत भवगौतमाय मुनि इंद्रदेवर चिकशेखराय चंद्रारका वैश्वानरोचनाय तस्मै वकाय नमः शिवाय। यक्ष स्वरूपाय जटाधराय पिनाकहस्ताय सनातनाय दिव्याय देवाय दिगंबराय तस्मै यकाय नमः शिवाय। पंचाक्षरमिदं पुण्यं यः पठे समन्वितौ शिवलोकावाप्नोति शिवेना सह मोदते। ॐ नमः शिवाय। ॐ नमः शिवाय। हरि ओम नमः शिवाय। प्रेम से बोलो उमापति महादेव की जय। So again, to all of you who are now coming in, say welcome to our own say. So far we have seen how the lingam has appeared. The first time the lingam had appeared in the cosmos, the circumstances that led to that activity. Last night, we've seen when Devi Parvati was performing her tapasya, and we saw a variety of events occurred to test her will and determination. And we looked at it from a personal point of view of when you're setting your goals and your objectives and you're working towards achieving them and so on. We saw that the type of lingam she worshipped. What was the type of lingam she worshipped? The dirt lingam, right? So she was the one that created that first dirt image, that dirt lingam, and performed the puja. Having been successful in her devotion when Bhagavan Shiva appeared, both of them, she requested of him certain type of blessings that can be derived from worshipping the dirt lingam, and he gave also other blessings that a devotee would get if they would perform devotion to the dirt lingam. And he himself had made the declaration that if that devotion to do in this period of time we are in, that is in the month of Shravan, on the days of the Somavar, the Mondays, on the days of the Trayodashi, on the days of the Krishna Chaturdasi, it will bring extra blessings. So today, we are going to see an episode where not a divine being, not a god or goddess, but an ordinary human being performing the worship to Bhagavan Shiva through the medium of that, the dirt lingam. And we are going to see the results that one attains. So yesterday you could use the argument that Devi Parvati is a goddess, right? She could do things that we can't do. And to some extent, your argument may be correct. But today, we are going to see an example. Remember when God comes and He teaches by example. So He sets the rules, the regulations, the guidelines. And it is up to the devotee now to follow. So here we are going to see a devotee who have performed this worship, and we are going to see the benefits that were derived from this worship. So tonight's katha is a discussion. Shri Sukadev Maharaj is narrating this particular episode to Sanat Kumar and the other rishis that had gathered here. And they were asking about, tell us, O Lord, O Holy One, O Enlightened Master, O Guru, tell us about the origin of Bhushmeshwara Jyotirlinga and its greatness. Now, beside this particular Jyotirling, all the other Jyotirling were named after a particular form of Bhagavan Shiva. They were established either by some deity, alright? Some of them were rishis, munis. Even Ravan established one of the Jyotirlingas. But remember, Ravan was a great bhakta of Lord Shiva. Alright? But here it is an ordinary individual, an ordinary householder. Alright? No special qualification like the rishis, they are spiritually advanced. Right? Ravan was amongst the greatest devotee of Bhagavan Shiva there was, so that gave him that qualification. And this is no deity that we are speaking about. Drop the phone on that out there. So, you have the first Jyotirlinga, which is the Somanath Lingam, that was established by Chandradev, the god of the moon. And so you have, with the passage of time, many other deities established other forms, other Jyotirlingas. But this one here, and this is the only Jyotirlinga that takes the name of an ordinary person. All the other ones, like for example, Somanath, that is a name that is given to Lord Shiva's god. Soma is the moon, Nath means a lord of, right? So Lord Shiva is Somanath, is the god of, when he wears the moon on his head, he's known as Somanath, right? He's also. In Varanasi, the Jyotirlinga that is worshipped there is Vishwanath, the Jyotirlinga. What does he mean in the word Vishwanath? Vishwa comes from the word Vishwas, meaning this universe. Nath means Lord of, right? So in Varanasi, the Jyotirlinga, the Vishwanath Jyotirlinga means that lingam that represents the Lord of the universe. Okay? And so on. There are others like Rameshwaram, the one we are more familiar with, the one that was established by Bhagwan Shri Ram. The name of that Jyotirlinga is Rameshwaram. What is, understand the meaning of the name now? Ram Ishwara, the Lord of Ram, right? So that means Rameshwara is, like who is the Lord of who Bhagwan Shri Ram meditates on? Who puja he performed? Shiv puja. So that was a name that was given to Shiva on that occasion, right? So here, Kushmeshwar was the name, Kushma was the name of the woman that worshipped Lord Shiva. Alright? And because of her devotion, when Bhagwan Shiva became pleased with her, he says, this lingam through which you worship will carry your name. And I will stay here and be known as Kushmeshwar. Right? So this is the only lingam that has a name of an ordinary person. Right? So let us hear how this came into being. So Sri Sutta is telling the rishis that on one cycle of creation, there was a certain Brahmin by the name of Sudama. And this is not the Sudama who is the friend of Lord Krishna. This is somebody else. Right? So this Sudama Brahmin, he was a very humble, very enlightened individual. And he had a wife by the name of Sudeha. They were married many years ago. But as fate would have it, they did not have any children. And this troubled Sudeha, the wife, a lot. Sudama, being the Brahmin he is, the enlightened soul he is, he understands that this is the will of God for him. So he's not going to fight destiny. You know, some of us, we praying and we're praying so hard for something. It may not be good for us, and when we don't get it, we vex with God. Huh? Sudama he's an enlightened, that is why it has been pointed out to him. He is a very knowledgeable person, so he knows the scripture. So analyzing himself with the Vedic knowledge of Jyotish, he realized that it is due to past karmas that he is not having this child. And he decides that he is not going to do anything about it. That is his karma. Alright? His wife, on the other hand, as time go by, any young woman, and as time go by and they're not having children, that becomes a problem. Then we live in a society where they have all kind of things to say. People just have all kind of things. They don't mind their business, in the world, they want to mind your business. Right? They have all kind of things to say. So she was experiencing this even within the village. Right? The neighbors were telling her, you're married so long, why haven't you become a mother as yet? And all kind of things they're telling the girl. So this kind of sent her into a depression. And so one day she sat with her husband and was discussing these circumstances of hers. And let us hear what she says. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah प्रेम से बोलो महापति महादेव की जय। So Shri Sukadeva Maharaj is telling us that in that agony of desperation, Sudeha convinced her husband that he should perform a Vedic ritual, a special type of Yagya, a special type of Puran, by which they would be allowed to have a son. And he's telling her, oh Devi, if you go down this path, only sadness and sorrow will befall you. This is not in your destiny. Accept your destiny as it is. I have composed myself that in this lifetime I will not be a father, and I have accepted that. It is your karma which is denying you the privilege of enjoying motherhood. Once you work this karma out in this life, in future life, you may be so blessed. But, you know, when you want something so bad, no amount of good reasoning does make sense at that point in time. It's like some of them children nowadays, you're telling them, study your schoolwork, put down the phone, get off the computer, and you have to preach it night and day for them. You're telling them things for their own good, but it's just not getting to their head. So, she is in that state of mind because of what society is saying to her, and because she has an unfulfilled desire, and that desire is a very strong desire in her. So the husband, he gave in to her, because it was after they had this discussion, she would come back and have the same discussion again and again. So what do you call that? Exactly, right? So he realized that she wasn't giving up. So he said, okay, we will conduct the Yagya, but it is against my advice to do so. So he conducts the fire ritual, and in this ritual, he offered 2 sacred lotus flowers. 2 sacred lotus flowers was consecrated, and one was offered into the fire, and the other was given to her. But by the will of the one Shiva, by the will of Shiva Maya, she misplaced that flower. So she became happy when her husband gave her the flower, and he told her what to do with it. But she put down the flower somewhere, and it disappeared. He being the great saint that he is, he realized this is the play of Lord Shiva. This is the will of Lord Shiva. So again, you see the hands of God here. Play. Right? When something is not for you and you keep asking for it, you keep going after it, and you're being denied of it, drop this one. And it keeps, and you keep hankering over it. Sometimes your Ishtadevta, in order to save you from yourself, puts obstacles in your path to reform you and to keep you focused on what your true goals are, not what the distractions in life are. Right? So that is why sometimes when these young boys and girls come and they tell them they have relationship problems, I say, how many subjects you have? Oh, yeah, 2. Oh, what do you have? I am still looking for it. Where is your salary range? I ain't none yet. I say, I love you, go my child, go my wife. Huh? Go and get yourself qualified and established first in life. Get your priorities in order. I know when I tell some of them that they vex too bad. Only to come and Baba, give me a little help now. I can't afford to buy Pampers. Well, a few years ago, when I was telling you forget the Pampers and things at that time, and to get a job, go to school and get your subjects and things, you didn't want to listen to me at that time. Huh? But now you come and beg and think I'll change to buy Pampers. So Sudama conducted the Yagya. He offered into the sacred fire that flower, but by the will of Lord Shiva, she was deluded and she misplaced the flower. Her husband, reading this as the hand of Lord Shiva in protecting himself and his wife, he did not worry over it. He remained calm and composed. So the wife, she went in one side by herself, and she's very thoughtful but depressed. Well, what to do? We do this here, and things didn't go the way it's supposed to go. So what to do now? Right? So she's thinking like this, and so a few days went by. She was not eating. She was always by herself, and so finally she came and she spoke to her husband. She says, "My Lord," with both hands joined, she said, "My Lord, this home is bereaved of the laughter of a little child, and though you did your best through the Yagya, yet we are not blessed with a child. Therefore," so listen to her request now, "I have accepted now that this is my fate, that I will not bear a child. But yet, I'm still yearning to have a little child in this house." So he's listening on, and she says, "I implore you, I beg of you, please marry my younger sister, Ushma, and do it under Vedic rituals, and there start a family with her." Now you know, in ancient cultures, all ancient cultures, not only Hindu culture, all ancient cultures, there were multiple marriages long ago, right? For example, in our own Ramayana, how many wives did Dashrath have? 3, right? Bhagwan Krishna's father, Vasudeva, how much wife he had? 2, right? So it was common, and time went by. Of course, with the passage of time, our society changed, alright? And so, like everything else, change brought us into what is supposed to be a monogamous society. But that is only monogamy in law, because you know what going on today? Huh? What is it? You all are well aware of how society goes today. Alright? But in ancient days, it was not uncommon, and it was not something against Vedic laws then. Right? So that is why he was able to marry her, perform a proper wedding ceremony then. And he married the younger sister under the influence of his wife. So Sudeha had a sister by the name of Ushma, right? And so this younger sister was not yet married. She was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Sudama was also, his Ishdevata was also Lord Shiva. So in that family, that kul, Lord Shiva was the main deity. While Sudama worshipped Bhagwan Shiva as the form of Bhagwan Shiva himself seated in meditation, Ushma, on the other hand, she worshipped Shiva as Mahadeva. Now, so you all will know, on the night of Shivratri, Lord Shiva changes his form according to the Paharas, right? The form of Mahadeva is worshipped in which Pahar? Come on, you all who do Shivratri Devata should know this. In which Pahar does Lord Shiva worship as Mahadev? The second Pahar, right? So, Ushma, she worshipped Bhagwan Shiva as Mahadeva. And coming from a home in which Shiv Bhakti and Shiv devotion was practiced, she did not object towards marrying a person who himself is a Bhakta of Lord Shiva. So she gave her consent to be married to and join this family. So now Sudama, from one wife, how much he get? 2, right? And Ushma, being the younger of both of them, after a short period of time, after a period of a year, Ushma gave birth to a healthy baby boy. And naturally, Sudama started spending time with the child. Now when a baby that's that young, if you're spending time with a child, who are you will be spending time with? Huh? The mother, of course, right? Watch out, sometimes it's hard to please some people. I want to say please woman. The wife originally tell him, influence him to get married again. And now he get married and he have a child, she jealous now. So jealousy arose in the heart of Sudeha. And she tries to hide it, knowing that that is her husband and that is also her sister. Alright? Ushma, being the devoted wife, she did nothing to instigate any kind of animosity between herself, Sudeha, and her husband. So in other words, she tried to do things in a way, live in a way that is conducive towards everybody coexisting happily. Okay? But Sudeha, as the child grew older and older, she became more and more jealous. And so the boy had reached that age of 7 years old, and at 7 years old in the Brahmin lineage, Brahmin caste, around that age, what important ceremony takes place? The Janeyu Samskar. So the Janeyu Samskar was performed, and in the Janeyu Samskar both mother and father had to be involved in it. So the boy's mother and his father naturally directly involved in it. So the other wife, she felt left off. So what do you think that will do with the jealousy in her now? It will raise her even more. Isn't that so? She became more jealous. And so after the Upanay Samskar was performed, he started spending time with the father. In other words, remember the father was a priest. So he would go out with him, he would conduct pujas, yagyas and so on. And they would spend a lot of time together. And naturally when he comes back, just like a child, when he comes home from school, they want to tell you everything that happened. So when he's sitting down with the mother and talking to the mother, he wants the father to be listening to. And sometimes the mother will have questions to ask the father, all that kind of thing. So they start to spend more time, they start to bond more with each other. And Sudeha, seeing this, she always felt left out. And at this point in time, the child has now become a teenager and she starts resenting the child. The child has reached the age of about 17 years old and the Vivaha Samskar was performed. What is Vivaha Samskar? Marriage. So the father gets him married. Alright? And so the daughter-in-law, the boy brings his wife into the parents' home. And so Sudeha is now thinking that if the daughter-in-law and the father-in-law and the mother, the boy's mother, Ushma, gets close, she will be put out. So she's thinking about these things. They're not treating her bad in any way. Alright? But she's making up all of these things in her mind. Whatever they do, Sudama was to do it with both of them. He would conduct the family business, chores, everything with all three of them. And now that marriage has taken place, everybody was involved in some way or the other. But Sudeha had it in her mind that at some point in time, when the father has passed on, well, the son will inherit everything. And when the son inherits, his wife will now become the head of the household and she will put out the stepmother. That is what she's thinking. So you see how sometimes our own mind can be dangerous, and how sometimes we synthesize, we manufacture our problems, because nowhere so far has Ved Vyas tells us Sudama ill-treats Sudeha. And so there was always a tension between the boy, because he's grown up now. So he knows right from wrong. And he obviously knows that his stepmother doesn't like him too much. So there was always a little tension between both of them. Sudeha decides that before her husband passes on, she must get rid of the boy and his wife. So look at what she's thinking in her mind now. Meanwhile, while all of this is going on, from the time this boy was born, his mother, Ushma, she would perform Shiv devotion for the well-being of her son as well as the well-being of every member of her home. So she prayed for somebody who plotted against she too. Now what I'm telling you is a typical, it's happening in most of our families these days. Just this one here is because of a child. In most Indian homes, when they have this kind of bacchanal happening, what is because of? Land. Right? So, Ved Vyas now is describing the devotion of Ushma, what she used to do. And let us hear. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Prince Bolo Marpati Mahadev ki Jai. So from the time she was married into this home, she adopted a special devotion. What she would do? She would go to the banks of the sacred river and she would collect the dirt. And that, at the water's edge, where the water meets the dirt, there she would collect that dirt. And she would get a big silver tray, like a big silver tarrier. And she would sit there and take that dirt. And you know how when sometimes you're rolling dumpling? Right. So she would take little pieces of dirt in her hands and mold it like a lingam. Right? But not a big lingam like what we have here. It would be like I say, like if she rolling dumpling then. Right? And she will put each one of them in the silver tray. Alright? And so she would do that until she fills that tray with 100 lingams. And she would do that, she did that for years. So after putting all of those lingams in the tray, then she will perform the abhishek. Right? Just like how we have all the shaligrams there in one vessel, so too she have all the lingams here in one vessel. And she would perform the abhishek on them. Then she would offer the things like the sindoor and the saffron and the other articles of puja. And she would offer 108 bay leaf on it every single day. Right? That is her devotion. Remember last night we was looking at the determination Parvati Mata had with her devotion. Well, she's exhibiting that same determination. She's not letting anything, even when the rain is falling, even when it is monsoon season and the river banks are overflowing, she would still go there. And you know a flooded river overflowing banks are a dangerous place to be. Right? Because you get swept away with the waters and so on. And in India, if you ever visit the Ganga in India, or any river in India, it's not like what we have in Trinidad, you know. It's like a sea. The river is like the size of a sea. right? You look at it and you can't even see the other end sometimes, depending on where you go, right? And it rages when it is flooded. Like when we went to Haribar, I remember when we went to the Yagya, they had chain in the side of the river, and I had to hold that chain in order to go down in the ghat. If you let go down, the current will carry you away. Alright? And that is how it is in plenty of these sacred ghats in India, especially when the river is very powerful. So she would do this in the early hours of this devotion. She would do this in the early hours of the morning. And she would keep strict fast. Devi has to say she would keep strict fast on the Mondays, the Trayodashi and the Krishna Chaturdasi. Now I explained to you yesterday why these days are sacred. You know, Mondays sacred to Lord Shiva. The Trayodashi is the 15th lunar tithi, 15th lunar day in every month. So you have one in the bright fortnight, you have one in the dark fortnight. And the Krishna Chaturdasi is the monthly Shivratri we just have, right? So those days are very sacred in every month. When those days occur, those days are special for Lord Shiva. And when those days are occurring, she would maintain an all-night vigil, and she would not eat cooked food and so on. So she was a very devoted person to Bhagavan Shiva, and she worshipped him as Mahadeva, right? And so when she finished worship these lingams, now what she would do with them? You have 100 lingams every day to worship with. What do you do? Huh? What do you do? Yesterday I told you, when you worship the dirt lingam, what you just have to do with it after? Dissolve it. Remember, Bhagavan Shiva says, when the dirt lingam after worship, it must be dissolved. Right? That is why even when Ganesh Utsav comes, or the Devi Yatra comes, when we finish, when the allotted period of time of devotion is finished, you must dissolve that murti in the water. And today you're going to see why. Yesterday I told you that is what it was, what Lord Shiva said you have to do. Today you're going to see why. Okay? So, this, following the injunction of the Shiva Agamas, that is a class of scriptures that deals only with Shiva devotion, having performed the devotion of these 100 lingams, she would offer it right there in the water. Right? So she would get up, take Shiva basins and empty the tray with the lingams, and then while chanting the mantras to Lord Shiva. Alright? And she would repeat that same process day after day after day until it reached a point in time where hundreds of thousands of lingams were submerged at the bottom of that river. But they weren't big lingams like this, like I told you. Now, picture it, you're rolling a little bit of dirt. It could be like a little thicker than your finger, right? One of the lingam could be a little thicker than your finger, right? So about something like that, but it has to have the lingam shape, of course. That is why I use the analogy like when you're making dumpling then, you know, unless it's like you pinch and throw. But you know, sometimes you just go like this, right? So that is how she spends her day, and only when that devotion, she completes that devotion, then she would go and eat a meal, and she would conduct her householder's duty then. And then next day she would repeat the process, day after day after day. Whether she was sick, and like I told you, Vedya said, whether she was sick, whether she had other distractions around, whether it was raining or not, she would dutifully perform this devotion. And years went by until that lingam, those lingams gathered there in that spot. But while she was doing all this, the jealousy in the heart of Sudeha did not subside. So the Sudeha, she was always plotting to get back at her. So now that her son is married and they have a daughter-in-law, she's now thinking, Sudeha is now thinking, while my husband is alive, I sure can stay in the house. Right? You know, when you're guilty of something, or when you just behave in a particular way, or it has some people, when they're doing things, they believe everybody doing it like that. They behaving like that. Huh? So if you corrupt, they believe everybody. If they corrupt, they believe everybody corrupt. If their hands dirty, they believe everybody else doing them something. They have people that live their life like that. Sometimes they don't realize it's their own shortcomings, it's their own stupidity, it's their own lack of understanding that have them where they is. You know why I tell someone when they come in and bother me, Baba see who doing me this now. Everything is, no, everything that they're asking me, they're telling me somebody doing themselves. I say nobody is doing something, it's just dotish. And they tell them to do a little devotion, make a little of God, Baba, I have to fast to do that. They have you all and complain for you. And this one bad and that one bad and he doing me this. But tell them to do a little devotion to protect themselves. You do it for me now. So she had that type of mindset. And so she's thinking now, before they have Bushma's son, who is now a married man, before he starts to have children, she wants to get rid of them. Right? So what did she do? She planned. And what was her plan? Let us hear. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah So one thing I wanted to point out, listen to this part because you'll see why even Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, be careful of a jealous person. A jealous person is a dangerous person. Alright? Jealousy could cause someone to do things that is beyond the realms of a normal human thinking. Right? You see this envy and jealousy? Not only within your own home, but even your workplace and so on. Envy and jealousy is responsible for spoiling the harmony of many, many work environment. It is that envy and jealousy is responsible for spoiling the harmony in your home and within your extended family. If you're a student and you have envy and jealousy among your peers in your class, it can lead to what bullying and all that kind of thing nowadays. Alright? It is a very dangerous, a jealous and envious person is a very dangerous person, and you must avoid associating with such individual, because what they are going to do to someone else, they are going to eventually do to you, because they are self-centered and they will only use you as long as they have use for you in their life, and then they will turn on you. So you see, when somebody is sitting down with you and plotting against somebody else, watch out. Because the minute you turn your back, you know what's going to happen? Is your name getting called up in all of that too. Right? That is the nature of the world today. Okay? So, Sudeha, she's planning now to get rid, so she decides to kill the boy. So what does she do? She says, okay, tonight I'm going to cook dinner for everybody. So what did she do? She dropped the food. And so everyone went into a deep sleep after consuming their meals. Everyone fell asleep except her. And there she took a knife, and it wasn't just a normal, she didn't kill the individual just normal, in a normal way now. During the night, while the son of Ushma was asleep, she pierced his heart. So remember, in a deep sleep, right? So she stabbed him there. Having pierced the heart, she cut up the limbs. So this is a serial killer you're talking about, right? A little laughing. This is an extent of what jealousy is trying people to do, you know. Right? This is what jealousy is do to people. Now if she stab him, that was just a murderer. But when you see it go to the extent that after you kill the person, you butcher them too. That is, you're well planned and organized. That is like a serial killer. That is why even Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, be careful of a jealous individual. So, she cut up the limbs. Now Sudeha didn't know Kushma used to go by that same river that was near her village and do her devotion. So she bundled the body parts in the sheet and she dragged it off. And she threw it right where the lingams and then was submerged. Not knowing that there were lingams under there and devotion was to be performed on the banks of that river. Right? And so as the body parts settled on where the lingam was, Bhagavan Shiva became very restless. He in Kailash meditating and he suddenly became very restless. And so from his body, even meditation, flames started to burst forward. And so the devatas are looking, what has happened to Mahadev? Why is he so angry? What is causing him? But what they are almost confused about, he's in meditation, but yet the signs of anger is on him. If you're meditating, you're supposed to be angry. Huh? If you're meditating, you're supposed to be tranquil. You're supposed to be at peace. This reminds me of something when I tell them children to say the prayers. They do so and they do so. Huh? Or some big people and all, when they go by their house to do prayers and they start Bedi Puja, phone ring, Baba, I come back, I'm going to take my call. So, Bhagavan Shiva starts to react. It is still night. All of them are still under the influence of whatever drug she gave them in the food. In the morning, Kushma got up as usual, and she didn't even go to look for her son. She get up early during the Brahma Muhurta. Having taken a sacred bath and gathering the leaves and flowers, she went to the bank of the river and do her daily worship. What is her daily worship? She would make the 100 lingams and she would perform the worship. And so, having performed her daily worship, just as it is customary, she would offer it in the water. Sometimes when you are praying personally, you just get premonitions and so on. On this occasion, when she was performing her devotion, bad signs were starting to show up around her. Bad omens. You know, sometimes you're going to come in, someone will take away from Baba, I have a bad dream last night, you know. Now, our scriptures give us remedies, like if you're constantly having bad dreams when you're sleeping. No, not if you have a dream 1 or 2 times and so on. And then what depends on what is in your mind at the time of going to sleep and the kind of day. So that is why you don't really give too much of consideration of dream. But when the dream occurs over and over again, especially at a particular time of the night, it is something to take into consideration. Right? And this is and our scriptures tells us, should in case it be bad, the remedy is very simple. Get up early in the morning and perform Gayatri Havan, and it will counteract the negative influence of what that dream is about. Alright? So, here it is, she's doing her devotion. For the first time, she's seeing bad signs. And so, taking this into consideration, she's now hurrying home to tell her husband. Her husband's a great rishi, right? What has happened. By this time, the sun has risen, and the daughter-in-law now, the boy who get killed, his wife has awakened. Remember, husband and wife, they will be sleeping next to one another. So when she wake up now, she can't find the husband anywhere. So she thinking, well, he's a Pundit just like his father. He get up to go and do the morning devotion too. But when she look across and put she hand on his side of the bed, what did happen? What happened? What's she feeling? Blood. She's seeing the blood all over. She starts to bawl. And so, Sudama, who has not left home yet, he ran into the room. Sudeha ran into the room too, and seeing the daughter-in-law in tears, and she pretended now, oh, what has happened to you? Why are you crying so much for? She said, I can't find my husband, and I seen blood next to it, and I don't know what happened. I was asleep all night. And so the father starts to break down. Crocodile, she's too short to shed crocodile tears. And so the commotion went on like this. And so she's telling her husband now, today, this morning when I was performing my devotion, I saw many bad signs. I didn't feel good at all. And she says, let us go to the river where you perform the devotion. And so, Sudama and Ushma, as well as Sudeha, they are making their way to the river and they are observing a blood trail. Remember, if you cut up a big man's body and you put it in a sheet, you can't really lift that up, you know. You have to drag it, right? So you see the blood trail now. And they are more as they come close. Now remember when Ushma was making her way to the river, that was Brahma Muhurta, that was 4 o'clock in the morning. So it didn't have no sunlight, but now the sun has risen, so they are seeing the blood trail, right? And they're seeing it right where she would normally sit and perform her devotion. And so Ushma couldn't understand all of this. She didn't even know that was her own son's blood, and she didn't even know his body parts were down there. So what did she do? She did the only thing she could do. Being a devotee of Lord Shiva, and knowing that this is her mandir, this is her, that bank of the river is sacred to her, as though it is a mandir, she starts to call out in devotion to Bhagwan Shiva. And so, she starts to call out to Bhagwan Shiva, "O Mahadev, come to my help, come to my aid." So let us all join as we too call out to Bhagwan to come into our life and relieve after all our suffering, all our distresses and so on.
Jai 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 Mahadev. Om Jai 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 Mahadev. Sri Ram
And like this, she's calling out to Bhagwan Shiva in prayer. Why do you think she worships Shiva as Mahadev? And why do you think during the Shivratri, one of the forms of Shiva worships Mahadev? Huh? When you're facing challenges in life and you're being overburdened by troubles and difficulties, wouldn't you want someone who is more powerful than any adversity to be on your side? That is the only way you will be assured that your troubles and your difficulty will be destroyed once and for all. If the person you are dependent on, your troubles and difficulties stronger than them or can conquer them, does it make sense you pray? So understand the meaning of the word Mahadev. What Maha means? Great. Dev means God. So he is the greatest among the gods. So that is why we call out to Bhagwan Shiva when we are in distress in that form. Bhagwan Shiva, who is known as Bhakto Ke Ratavale, he is the protector of his devotees. He immediately responds to her prayer. He disappears from Mount Kailash and he appears from the waters where those lingams were submerged. And they are standing on the surface of the water with flames all around him, very angry. Armed with the trishul, and in his other hand, he has the little boy, he has the boy in his hands, alive and well. And so, Bhagwan Shiva, looking at Ushma, I said, "Oh Devi, fear not. Your son is safe with me. Because of your devotion, your family was always protected by me." And an important lesson. No matter what you go through in life, never turn your back on your God. No matter how much troubles and difficulties. Now this katha is not only pertaining to a woman who can't have a child and jealousy within her family. You just witness a murder take place. This is the kind of time we are living in. Bandits coming in your house, want to rob. Where you spend 30, 40 years building, they want to take it in 3-4 minutes time. And he's showing you, this katha is teaching us, when there is trouble all around us, whether it's within us, whether it's in our home, whether it's in our community, in society, which it is present in our society today, turn to Bhagwan. Yes, do what is necessary. God help those who help themselves. You can't say, "I'm going to pray to God for protection," while you're jumping in every nightclub every weekend with all your Golan thing on. Huh? God helps those who help themselves. You cannot be praying for protection, but you're exposing yourself to the criminal elements. So, fortifying your home, keeping a low profile, those kind of things. Now, even though you're doing that, sometimes you're still victim of some kind of crime. Huh? But regardless of what happens, you don't ever turn your back on your God. Look at what Ushma lost. She lost her son. And because her faith was so steadfast in Bhagwan Shiva immediately, she didn't even know where her son was. She didn't even know he'd get killed up to that point in time. You know, when she realized, as you will hear just now, when she realized her son was murdered, it came out of the mouth of Lord Shiva. And so, her husband, Sudama, he says, "O Bholenath, O you who is beneficial to your devotees, tell us what is the mystery of this form of yours. What is my son doing in your company, dear?" And so Bhagwan Shiva, he starts to talk. So when you feel you have secrets to hide and you want to take advantage of God's devotees, it is just a matter of time before all your secrets are revealed. God don't sleep, eh? His work might be slow, but justice, God's justice is guaranteed. That is one thing you're going to be. Just as you know the sun must rise in the morning, God's justice is guaranteed. So Bhagwan Shiva, let us hear what he will say. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Mahapati Mahadev ki Jai. So Bhagavan Shiva, raging with anger, flames coming out of his body, armed with the trishul in a striking position, and on the other hand he has the boy, the son of Ushma. Bhagavan Shiva turns him over to his mother and he says, "Oh dear Devi, Ushma, you are my devotee, and know for certain that from today onwards, you, your husband, and your son will be wearing my Rudra Kavach," meaning the protective shield of Bhagavan Shiva. None in this universe will be able to destroy you or defeat you with this armor of protection. Now, it is not an armor like what you see knights in them old English movies. When we talk about a Kavach from a tantric point of view, it is a series of mantras that we use certain rites and rituals, and we infuse the body with these mantras, and it builds a protective shield on your aura. Like for example, some of you, from time to time, I'll do Panchmukhi Hanuman Puja with you, and you know I'll do a particular type of havan with you, and I'll tell you this, the Jai Hanuman coming from a different direction, armed with different weapons and so on. That is the Panchmukhi Hanuman Kavach havan. So this is, they are devotees of Bhagavan Shiva. So Bhagavan Shiva says, this family will now be protected by Rudra Kavach. Alright? So Bhagavan Shiva becomes their protector. Sudama looking on and is looking at the form of Lord Shiva, and he's saying, "Oh Lord, tell me the mystery behind your appearance. I could understand your anger with the flames, but what are those cuts on your body?" Where did Bhagavan Shiva get those things from? Every stab, every chop, every that the Sudeha did, Bhagavan Shiva bore it on himself. Now that is a God. Right? And this is the nature, that is why he is called Bhakto Ke Rakawale. He is called Bholenath. He takes the suffering of his devotees on himself. And so Bhagavan Shiva is telling, he's now revealing, these cuts on my body are as a result of what this wicked Sudeha did to your son. Killed him, disfigured the body, and threw it where my lingams were submerged. So when he has secret, What did I say in Trinidad? When you have cocoa in sun? Huh? Look out. Sudama couldn't believe this, his wife Sudeha had become this type of woman. And so he had made up his mind to abandon her. But Bhushma, who is the Bhakta of Lord Shiva, says, Lord, forgive everything that has happened here. And Bhagavan Shiva is saying, this Sudeha, this wicked Sudeha, has perpetrated the worst crime against my devotee. Therefore, by my judgment, she must be killed. That is Bhagavan Shiva's opinion. You interfere with my devotee, I will come and kill you. That is how Lord Shiva protects. That is why it's constant, and in our Upanishads and in the Shiva Gamas and so on, it tells you, you just like to call yourself a devotee. Right? Some of you say you are a devotee of Hanuman, you are a devotee of Shiva, you are a devotee of Krishna, you are a devotee of Ganesh. But do they consider you to be their devotee? Huh? You tell yourself, you give yourself the title, I am a Shiv devotee because I worship Lord Shiva. But does Lord Shiva ever say, you are my devotee? To be qualified as a Shiv devotee, you have to live the life upon the Shiva Gamas. Right? Bhagavan Shiva doesn't want part-time devotees. Look at the type of life Sudeha lived. Bhushma lived. Regardless of what she was facing, regardless of what trials, tribulations, she never compromised where her devotion is concerned. And when you give God that type of devotion, then He gives you in return Himself. And with Bhagavan Shiva in particular, and this is not only so with Bhagavan Shiva, forget the name of the book now. There is a scripture, Puran, which captures the 32 years of Lord Krishna's life as a householder. That is after the Mahabharata war when Bhagavan Krishna married and settled down and so on. That scripture is called Puran. And in Puran, a devotee of Bhagavan Krishna has been tortured. And every time they hit him with the whip, the whale marks would appear in Bhagavan Krishna's back. And he would not feel the lashes at that point in time. Alright? So, this is how Bhagavan takes care of his devotees. But you notice it's not no part-time devotee. It is a complete commitment. A relationship with Bhagavan is not like a light switch. You can flick it on and off. Huh? My birthday falling on a long weekend, let me go Puran, butcher some duck and fowl, forget praying. When we come back, we can see about praying after. You know right how we typical Trinidadians do, huh? Or Christmas falling on the fasting day. If I fast one day, that is okay, man. Huh? How many of you have fasting days on Thursdays or whatever day, and then because some important or some holiday or family get together happen to be on that day and you fast on that day? Instead of drinking water and fruit juice, I think you're drinking the spirit of Trinidad. Huh? We go share Panchamrit, but you're drinking it on the rocks. Huh? When you compromise your devotion like that, you're only harming yourself. Alright? Wherever you are, even if you're traveling, you may not be able to do the rites and rituals that you're accustomed to doing in the morning, but you can sit down in a quiet place and do your job. And job is not only with a mala, you can check, I showed you already how to do the checking on your fingers and so on. Right? So there are ways you can do your devotion until you can get back to where you are, where you can do the type of rituals you're accustomed doing. Okay? So there's not supposed to be any compromise where, even if you're sick and you're in the hospital bed, you know you can still pray? Huh? Actually, there is some only that genuinely pray. Why? Because you're afraid the other form of Shiva come by you. Yamraj. Huh? I gotta tell people, you know when we go to do wedding, there's so much of stupidness going on these days, huh? But you know when we go to funeral, you get a little argument kind of wedding, go this battle increase, huh? Why? You're afraid. Right? That's why I prefer to do a funeral than to do a wedding nowadays. Seriously, it's too much. When you go to do wedding nowadays, it's everybody's hearsay, they say. And I just keep telling people, when you're taking advice on any rites or rituals, whether it's funeral, wedding, puja, yagya, consult the Pundit who's doing it for you now, man, before you talk to anybody else. Huh? So Bhagwan Shiva, he reveals it was Sudeha that murdered the boy, and Bhagwan Shiva determined that it is his justice to put an end to her life. And so Bhagwan Shiva, as he was approaching to strike with the Trishul, Sudeha put her hands, Bhushma put her hands together and said, "Oh Lord, forgive her. Forgive her for this error that she has committed. All of us have suffered as a result of this trauma. Let us forgive and move on from this situation." This is the prayer for genuine devotee. Alright? And so Bhagwan Shiva, seeing the genuine nature of Bhushma, and as she pleads with him, she takes the bay leaf in her hands and pours it at his feet. She takes the water. And Bhagwan Shiva, when he's angry, when you pour, that's why we pour water in the lingam. You know the Shiva has the third eye, the fiery third eye, and that is why over the Shiv lingam is supposed to have commandal driven water all the time. And she started pouring the water on his feet, and the day he calmed down. The flames disappeared from the body, the marks, the cuts on his body disappeared. And so he became the calm, composed God that we know him to be. And he said, "Oh Devi, because of your devotion," and she's saying, "Ask for what you want." Say, "What am I going to ask for, Bhagwan? I've seen you and I've gotten back my son. However, it is my desire that anyone that have any type of troubles and difficulties in life, be it health, be it poverty, be it a lack of family stability, or just need protection from the criminal forces in society, or even the malefic influence of the grahas, or even those who would tamper with the black magic, they should be able to approach you and get help immediately." And so Bhagwan Shiva says, "O Devi, because of this request of you, I pledge, I give you this promise, that from today onwards, I will reside on this spot where you have created these lingams over the years. They shall emerge and they shall take your name. This Jyotirlinga of mine will be known throughout the three worlds of Bhushmeshwar Jyotirlingam." Praise the Lord Mahapati Mahadev ki Jai. And so, this is how Bhushmeshwar Jyotirlingam came into existence. And here Lord Shiva stands as a champion for those who are taken advantage of, and for those who are suffering any kind of distress. You approach Bhagwan Shiva here and you can get your desires fulfilled. Any questions before I move on? So you all think, you all understand how important the puja with this dirt lingam is with now? Are you convinced you don't have to be some superior being, but you can be an ordinary woman like how Bhushma was and get the blessings of Bhagwan Shiva? And what medium did she worship him through? The same Prithvi lingam. But I don't want you to go away the idea in your head that you'll make a dirt lingam and worship it and all the trouble will disappear. Notice the kind of commitment you have to. So on the day that we are doing this, that will have to be the beginning of your commitment to Bhagwan Shiva. And look at the blessings when Bhagavan Shiva gave the blessings that because she molded that lingam with her own hand, the entire family get the protection of Rudra Kavach, the protective shield of Lord Shiva. So when one person in the family undertakes severe or genuine devotion, the entire family benefits from it. That is why as a parent, you must always encourage your little ones when you're going to do your prayers. Yes, they can be naughty, yes, they can disturb you, but that is part of the learning process. If you don't teach them, and you don't nurture them and groom them from small, you're going to lose them when they get big, you know. Like I told you here on some other occasion, I can't remember, well, it wasn't this year. Right now among the pundits in this country, we have a concern. And what is the concern? Who is going to do the funeral rites and rituals with this generation of old people that is there? Why? Because the younger ones, they don't want to do the rites and rituals that is ordained in scriptures. They want to do shaving and bandara on the same day now. And that is trouble. There's a reason why it has to be done 10 days and 13 days. The same day they're doing funeral, then they want to do shaving and bandara. So right now among the pundits in this country, there is a genuine concern. And they're giving you a whole list of excuses, you know. Your parents didn't give you no excuse when they were grooming you and sacrificing to bring you up. And now it is your duty to perform their rites and rituals in proper way. You're making all the excuses for it. But I never hear them make excuses when time to get along. Huh? I don't hear them making the excuse. Actually, they want to kill one another for that one. Like somebody told me the other day, when the child small is my mother, my mother, my mother. And when you become big man, now it's your mother, your mother, your mother. Huh? So dear devotees, we have looked at the benefits of worshipping Lord Shiva through the medium of the dirt lingam. And like I told you, on the 28th of August, we are going to do that devotion here. Those of you who want to join us, you need to get in contact with me, but there will be some preparations you will have to do up front. So at this point in time, we'll have one bhajan, and while that bhajan is taking place, we'll have Havan being performed, and then we have a little ceremony, which will be a few minutes, and then we'll have our concluding arati.
अब शिव पार करो मोरे नैया, अब शिव पार करो मोरे नैया, अब शिव पार करो मोरे नैया, अब शिव पार करो मोरे Shiva
स्वाहा ओम राहवे नमः स्वाहा ओम केतवे नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री अग्निदेवताय नमः स्वाहा ओम इंद्राय नमः स्वाहा ओम पृथ्वीदेव
शिव के आश्रम के वासी नारी आरोग्य राजा शंकर संकर शिव के आश्रम के वासी नारी आरोग्य राजा
So before we go to the next part of our ceremony, let me give you some information. Tomorrow night we'll be having our Shiv Puja, and we'll be starting offerings for the public. That is Devi Puja will be concluded, and those of you who come prepared to do your offering, we starting at 6 o'clock. And you don't have to worry about it going late tomorrow. Everybody who come prepared to do your worship, you will get a chance to come and do your worship. What I will do, if we finish late, I will just cut back the kata and continue that next day. Just like I was split today's kata into 2 parts, yesterday and today, I'll just split tomorrow's kata into 2 parts. Now we still have Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay? So you will not be losing anything. So you don't have to be worried about keeping you back late and so on. So at this point in time, our scriptures teaches us that we must be grateful for when assistance has been given and when dedication and service has been given. Our ashram, as you all know, started back in 2002 as a social service group. Alright? Myself and a few individuals from the Kelly village area, we came together and we formed the ashram. But that time it was only doing social service, like providing relief for poverty-stricken families in those kind of areas. With the passage of time, the ashram grew, and so it became necessary to have our status regularized and legally established in order to continue forward. While that was around ending in 2010, 2011, when I started investigating about the procedures and protocols of getting the ashram incorporated. At that time, Mr. Ramlagan came to me, and just as some of you will come and we'll discuss many things in my office, all of a sudden, he said, "Babs, you want to incorporate the temple?" Huh? I said, "Yes, I'm actively looking at how to get that done. I go through the process." And at that point, I had made at the day he told me that, I had an appointment the other day to talk to a lawyer. And so he told me what he was going to do. And he said, "You don't worry, you have to go in town. I'll get everything done, I'll bring the papers for you to sign." And so said, so done. And so Mr. Vendas Ramlagan has been solely instrumental in having our legal status sanctified and established. So Mr. Ramlagan, for this service, and it's because of that I was able to get the ashram recognized by the various government ministries which we work with even up to today. For example, the Havan course that is coming up, you already ashram is registered now with the Ministry of Education, and they have given consent that they will recognize the certificates will be given out. Right? You all can recall a few years ago, we did first aid, and the certificates were given out to that then. The Ministry of Health was recognizing the course. So for that to happen, I had to be incorporated. And back then, I didn't have the kind of legal knowledge and background that I have now. Thanks to Mr. Ramlagan, we have the temple, this ashram, incorporated and on solid legal footing. He told me he will do all the paperwork for me, he will sign the documents, but you will see I will have to do the time to do. When time to file our annual returns, and it's not that now we just have to do that. Going to Parameshwari and file our annual return. And so we started to get little, back then, not now already, but back then we started to get government assistance and so on to do our little programs and projects and so on. Until we were able, with other activities, to reach where we are today. So Mr. Ramlagan had played a very significant and legal part in our development. And I would like to acknowledge him for the contribution that he had made. And he did this willingly, on his own. I don't know whatever, because you know when you go to government offices, what kind of inconveniences get? But he never complained to me about anything at all. He did what he said he would do, and he fulfilled that obligation that he had taken up. And I am eternally grateful for that. Those of you who know me know I don't like Parameshwari at all. Right? Who know me? How I small Parameshwari? Huh? Fatal. Right? So, and it has to do with that too much of bureaucracy in the government ministries anyway you go. It's either somebody wants a bribe, or for simple thing, they come back next day, come back next day, come back next day. And he got through all that red tape, and we got where we are today with all the, even helped me frame the constitution of this ashram. Alright? So that was a lot of legal work, and for that I am grateful. And we are able to progress as an organization, not only locally, but in the ashram. You all know the ashram is also recognized internationally too. Right? So, Mr. Ramlagan, please stand, let these devotees, these members of the ashram and others, see who you are for making this contribution. So this young man that is standing in front of you is responsible for our legal status. And as such, we honor him in our traditional way and present him with a token of appreciation for where he has helped the ashram reach. So representing the board of directors is the secretary of the ashram, and he presented to kind of appreciate this plaque that says it all. From all of us, from the management, from myself and the entire membership, both locally and internationally, we present this to you as a token of our appreciation for what you have done for us. Even Michael, say a few words. Yeah, give him the box again.
The distinguished Pundit Vishnu Maharaj, the younger Pundits, devotees all, Namaste. Pundit elaborated quite a while in saying what was done, but that, for me that was just a little formality. So I did what I had to do as a Hindu, and that's great. Thank you so much, and I wish your organization go from strength to strength. Thank you, Sita.
So at this point in time, let us start as we have our concluding arati. Move to Pundit and Swami, so they have enough like. So after arati, those of you who want to come up and do your arati on the altar, feel free to do so. So after arati, please be seated. Arati will pass around here, and then you can come up here, do your offerings on the altar, and then make your way to the back to receive your dinner and so on. Om Sajjan. As we come to an end of tonight's devotion, we give thanks to God for the opportunity to congregate and to perform our bhajans and kirtans, our puja, our discourses, to engage in this Yagya. We seek forgiveness if we have made any errors, and lastly we ask to have our desires fulfilled, all obstacles removed from our daily life. Tvameva Mata Shapita Tvameva Bandhu Chasika Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardanam Yad अर्चितं मया देवा परिपूर्णं तदस्तु मे कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृति स्वभाव्य करोमि यद्यं सकलं तस्मै नारायणेति समर्पयामि नारायणेति समर्पयामि From the very top of your voices, let us proclaim victory for our way of life, for our noble religion, Sanatana Dharma, and let us establish firmly and confidently our presence and identity. Prem se bolo Gajananand Swami ki, Umapati Mahadev ki, Putra Hanuman ki, Adi Shakti Durga Mata ki, Sadguru Nath Maharaj ki, Satyanarayan Swami ki, Prem se bolo Shri Satya Sanatana Dharma ki. Jai Jai Sitaram. Take your seats. Remain seated for a few minutes. Arati will pass around. As soon as I get to Arati, feel free to come up. I think they are Arati prepared. Right, so there's Arati already prepared here for those of you who wish to come and do your little offerings and so on the altar. And again, we do appreciate the time you've taken from your schedules to join us in devotion this evening. Come prepare to do your offering tomorrow. We will start at 6 p.m. And I promise you I will not keep you back late. Right? You'll cut off like normal time like today. Okay? So come do your devotion tomorrow. Once we'll start reading about the importance of Shiva Abhishek. Why the maiden ceremony, the Abhishek is important to Lord Shiva. What we don't finish on Thursday, I will finish